Salutations to all our future judges. In this video, we are going to see Code of Civil Procedure 1908, Part 19, Sections 87B and 88. If you have not seen the earlier part, that is Part 18, I am providing the link in the iCard. You can click that link and watch the earlier part, that is Part 18. If you want to see the entire playlist, that is, the playlist containing all the parts, including this part, I am providing the link of the playlist in the description. You can click that link and watch the entire series or the entire playlist. Suits against rulers of former Indian states. Section 87B. Applications of sections 85 and 86 to rulers of former Indian states. To understand this particular subsection 1, let us take an example and try to understand this. Imagine there was a ruler X who is the king of a particular state, and there is another ruler Y who is the king of another state, and these states were there before the formation of India. And in that situation, X and Y had a dispute with respect to the land, and after the formation of the Indian country, these two states combined together and became a part of India. So this dispute was prior to that joining with India, and at that time there was no constitution of India. At that time there was some dispute. So in that case, if a case is filed with respect to that old cause of action, that is the cause of action which arose before the commencement of constitution or even before the commencement of the country called as India, in that case what will happen is that that particular ruler will be considered as ruler of a foreign state. This is the first point. Let us move to the second aspect in this. This X and Y had some dispute. They agreed upon something and the dispute was resolved at that time. Then subsequently, X did not adhere to the compromise. X said like, I'll pay this much money to Y, and he did not pay. This ruler did not pay to the other ruler. So as a continuation of that cause of action, there is another proceeding which is continuing, the new proceeding which is coming up. In that case also, the ruler will be considered as a ruler of a foreign state. If anything happens before commencement of the constitution between a ruler and any other person for that reason, that case can be filed by the ruler or against the ruler. Both are possible. If any such thing happens, in that case, that person or that ruler is considered to be the ruler of a foreign state. Let us move to the next subsection, which is subsection 2 under section 87B. The first point what they state here is A, former Indian state, which is considered to be a former Indian state. The simple aspect is that a state which is being said to be a former Indian state by the central government in its official gazette. To understand this in a simple manner, if the central government is publishing in the official gazette saying that the state of ruler X and the state of ruler Y is to be considered as former Indian state. If such a publication is being made in the official gazette or a notification is made in the official gazette, that is considered to be a former Indian state. Let us move to the next point, which is point B. Commencement of the constitution. When is the date of commencement of the constitution? So anything which happens prior to this cutoff date, you need to apply the principle what we saw in subsection 1. So 26th January 1950 is the cutoff date. After this, if anything happens, then no problem. But if anything happens as a continuation of things which happened prior to 26th January 1950, if it is a continuation of thing which was running, then in that case, this particular principle will not apply. So it will be considered as a dispute between the ruler of a foreign state. If it is after 26 January 1950, it will not be considered so. Next, point C, ruler. Now let us move to point C, ruler. This word ruler with respect to a former Indian state will have the same meaning as in Article 363 of the Constitution. Now let us try to understand what Article 363 of the Indian Constitution says. To understand this in a clear manner. In accordance to Article 363, the most important point is subarticle 2 in Article 363, which clearly states in this article what Indian state actually means. That is point A. Indian state means any territory recognized before the commencement of this constitution by His Majesty or the government of the Dominion of India as being such a state. So, if His Majesty has recognized or the government of the Dominion of India has recognized a particular state, then it is a former Indian state. Now, let us move to the next point. Point B. Ruler includes the prince, chief, or other person recognized before such commencement by His Majesty or the government of the Dominion of India as the ruler of any Indian state. So, ruler, the word ruler will include the prince also, the chief also, or any other person recognized by the Majesty. If a person has been recognized as a ruler by His Majesty, or a state has been recognized by His Majesty, in all these situations, these states or these rulers are considered to be the former state or former ruler of a Indian state. Interpleader, section 88, where interpleader suit may be instituted. Let us try to understand this by way of an example. Imagine there is one person A. He's got two children B and C. So this person A lets out his building to one Mr. X. So that X is the person who is a tenant in that particular building. So this A is collecting rent from that person X. So suddenly what happens is, due to some untoward incident, this A dies. So this B and C, both of them fight with each other. This B goes to X and says, you should pay the rent to me. C is going to X and saying that you should pay the rent to me. So now the X is confused. X is not sure whether he should pay to B or C. B is claiming that he is the absolute owner as per the will of his father. C is also saying that as per the will, he is the absolute owner. So now X is confused. So now what X will do is, he will file a case in the court as an interpleader suit. So this X will file this case requesting the court to decide as to whom he should pay the rent, whether to B or to C. The court will decide this aspect, based on which this person, that is the person in the rental property or the tenant, will pay the money. So this can be for movable property or immovable property, or it can be with respect to money or other property. But the most important point here is that that tenant should not claim any interest in the property. He should not have any particular right over the property, except that confusion to whom he should pay the rent. So this person can file an interpleader suit against all the claimants. In this example, we took only just two claimants. There can be 10 claimants, there can be 12 claimants, there can be any number of claimants. This particular tenant should include all of them as defendant in the suit. Then, based on the decision, he can deliver the property or pay the money. In addition to this, he can also indemnify himself, because imagine this tenant is not filing a case, so this rent is accumulating. So at a later stage, B is becoming entitled. So in that case, B will say, no, you have to pay the rent, you did not pay it with interest. Or he might sue the tenant for not paying the rent. There could be any reason. And in that case, to protect the tenant, he can also ask the court to ensure that he is being indemnified. Is there any exception, or is there any proviso to this? Or is there any proviso to this? The main proviso is that if a suit is pending between B and C already, in that case, interpleader cannot institute a suit. So B and C are already fighting, we know. B has already instituted a suit saying that I am the rightful owner. This is the will which my father gave, that is A gave, and I am the rightful owner. And he is making C as the defendant. That case is pending. And in that, he is making a prayer that rent should be paid to him. So in that case, the court will decide as to who is the rightful owner. If such a suit is pending, then this tenant cannot file an interpleader suit. This section is also very, very important. If you like the video, please do press the thumbs up button and leave your comments in the comment section. And do subscribe the channel and also share the channel with your friends. Let us join hands together and contribute for a learned society. Thank you.